Hey everyone, this is Eleanor with Eleanor's Elite Radio, and I've been waiting for this interview since the beginning of the week. I have with me today Mr. John Yates, who is, according to the Urban Dictionary, a Twitter Ferrari. So that's Twitter and Ferrari, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, John, I'm so glad to have you with me today. Say hi to everybody.
Allegedly. I just wanted to get that out of the way. I just wanted to just throw that out there and just I've said it now and I could relax a little bit. Hi, Eleanor. Thank you for having me on your show. I'm really honored to be here.
Oh my God, I'm so happy that you're here. I'm being very truthful. I am very computer savvy. I have Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. I do it all. I blog. I have my website. But Twitter sometimes is a little tricky for me. Like it's hard for me to follow a lot of the tweets and who's tweeting and retweeting and quoting. And anyway, I came across, I don't know how, but I came across your message one day and I'm like, oh my God, he's a Real Housewives of New Jersey fan. And I was so, thrilled. And then I started reading all of your tweets. Well, I stayed up until about 2:30 that morning reading all of your tweets. And I just want to give, my listeners a little background on, how, first, tell us a little bit how you got started, getting introduced with Bravo celebrities, and just give us a little background about your passion.
Let's see. It started out, I got onto Twitter, much like you. I didn't know, the ins and outs of Twitter. I had broken my arm a couple years back, and I was home every day for 6 months straight because I was a typist, a court reporter, and I couldn't type. So I got on Twitter, and after 3 months of being on it every day, I finally figured it out, and a light bulb went off. And I just started tweeting, different shows that I liked, and I started to get a following, and then I discovered Periscope, which is Facebook's
Live,
Facebook
Live.
Facebook Live,
right.
Yeah. So I started doing live streaming from Periscope on my Twitter timeline, and I don't know, people just liked what I was saying, and then sooner or later, I started having stars on my show, like I had Danielle Jabali and Beth from 90 Day Fiancé on over the summer, and then that kind of just snowballed into I had, Eliza from Survivor, and I had Jim and Amber from Jersey, and half the cast of 90 Day, and that's how I kind of fell into it.
Wow, that's so interesting. And you just said something that you said you were a court reporter, right?
Yes. And
you're in the New York, Long Island area, right?
Yes.
So did you go to Stenotype Institute? Because I did.
No, I didn't, but that's amazing.
I'm sorry. I just heard that. I'm like, oh my God, he's a court reporter too. We have so much in common. All right.
And you have a lot of downtime with court reporting because, you have, there are days when you don't work, and so you have time to play with Twitter, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me, how did you get, involved with the Real Housewives of New Jersey?
Okay, well, I've been live tweeting a lot of shows, mostly on TLC and Bravo. I'm a big Housewives fan. Here's the funny part about Jersey is that I haven't watched Jersey since Amber had left because I didn't like what Bravo did to Amber, and I'm like, I'm not going to watch Jersey anymore. I didn't watch last season. And then I watched this season because I was kind of curious to see how Teresa was doing, to be honest with you. I actually had no idea who the hell Siggy Flicker was before I started tweeting Jersey this season. That's the sad part of this whole thing.
Right. Okay, so now I know you got an opportunity to interview.
I did. I was working with a startup app that just launched, and I was interviewing mostly 90 Day Fiancé people on their app, And this is back in October when Jersey was premiering, and I think it was like the first or the second week, and they said, "Hey, do you want to go to Siggy Flicker's house for an interview?" And me, like a Real Housewife, going into a Real Housewife's house, that's like me, like that's like going to my house for me. I was like,
right.
So I'm like, "Oh, are you kidding me?" Yes, I'll do it. So. At that point, I decided, because I didn't know who Siggy was, but I knew she was a housewife, so that's all I needed to hear.
Right.
So I started tweeting, like, pro Siggy pro Siggy Flicker tweets, and that's how I kind of got wrapped into the Siggy circle. And what happened was, hours before we were supposed to go to Jersey to interview her, she backed out, and I wound up interviewing somebody else from a different show and a different network that night. But that's how that came about.
Okay. So now you are tweeting, what a wonderful person she is, even though you've never met her and you really don't know her. And I guess it caught her eye, correct? I mean, were you able to interview her at any point?
No. I never interviewed Siggy. And it never happened. But I got wrapped up. Like, I've been on Twitter for a few years, and I've never seen, and I know you're not familiar with Twitter, but I've never seen anything like this before. The Siggy Flicker, there was like a mega thread with like 45 people on it. I mean, it's just unheard of to keep a thread with 45 active people. And I mean, when I say active, like there was 45 people talking morning, noon, and night. And I kind of got wrapped into it. And I didn't know anything. I thought that, everyone I talked to was a pretty cool person.
Right.
And, there were things that I didn't know it was going on at the time, but like, I kind of got suckered in to, and, I have like my family is mostly passed away, like my parents, my grandparents. So like I'm lonely a lot. Like my husband works a lot. We both work 2 jobs. We live in Long Island. It's like the most expensive place in the world to live.
Yes, it is.
So I don't see a lot of people.
Right.
So like, when I latched on to this Siggy Flicker family, and that's what they said every day. We're family. We love each other. We're beautiful. It resonated with me, and I kind of felt like I was home a little bit. That may sound corny to a lot of fucking people, but when you're as like, I don't know, it was just nice to me.
Okay, so I want to make sure that everybody's clear, on the events that took place and what happened, because that's kind of like very important. So you became involved in this mega thread on Twitter with all of the Twiggy, yeah, she wishes, with all the Soggy Flicker fans and super fans, I'm going to say, or obsessed fans, or whatever the hell they were. And so what happened now? What happened from there? Because you started having some difficulties, correct?
Yeah, and this, I mean, it really didn't start to maybe like the week or two before the reunion, I think is, maybe the week before the reunion. Like all season long, everything was great. Yay, Siggy, I kind of, like, it's hard to explain. Like, there was this, everything was great, and then we had this woman in the thread called Gianna DeMarco, and she had a really a default picture that's like a model, and she would like bother me more, like morning, noon, and night, like John, this, that. Like she was like very like enamored with me,
right?
And I would say, like, what is this beautiful, gorgeous woman wanting with like a married gay guy from like Long Island? It just didn't make sense to me. And then other people started questioning her. Eddie, who was on the thread, Tiffany, and these are like big people that were on the Siggy thread. Tiffany, even Helene, the president of her fan club, who I talked to on the phone about this, said that this Gianna person didn't make any fucking sense. So she posted we all started posting selfies of each other one day, kind of just to like, I guess everybody to familiarize each other with everybody.
Right.
And Gianna posted a picture of her getting out of bed with like the sheets, but what wound up happening was that was a picture of like an Instagram model. Now, don't get me wrong. It's either her default picture was a picture of an Instagram model, and then there was another picture of a French-Canadian actress. So that, with the information that these people dropped in our lap, that they showed us a bunch of screenshots where Gianna's asking Eden for money. She's catfishing all these housewives for money. And, me, now what everybody didn't know and the viewers don't know is that on New Year's Eve, I got hacked into all of my accounts. My Twitter, my Facebook, my Instagram, my credit cards, my bank, my this, my that, my other. So when I saw that there was a catfisher in the midst, I was very protective of my Flickr family to say, like, hey, guys, you need to watch out for this woman. And that's when the shit hit the fan.
So basically now, let me kind of translate. So you noticed that this woman who was also part of this mega thread, now, does she work for Siggy? Does she work for her? Is she in her PR group or?
If I were to make a guess, allegedly, I would say that yes.
Okay.
But that's just my own.
That's just your opinion. Okay, so we can't really say
opinion,
yes.
From what I've seen and from things I've heard and from stories, yes, but that's just my.
That's
my
just
opinion.
what you think. All right, so this lady, whoever she was, kind of like was making people like do favors for her or give her money or lend her stuff. So she was just kind of, egging people on and tricking them, basically. So you
yes, exactly.
Right, and you informed all of your Ziggy Flickr family people that this is a tricky woman and they need to be careful.
Yes.
Okay. So from that point, so was she the woman who broke into and hacked into your account?
I don't know who did it, but it was I just took it very serious because I had to change my phone number that I had for over 10 years. It was annoying. And so what happened after that was that because I was so vocal about this Gianna person, I angered this other person, Bucky, A1 Buckwheat, who was in the thread.
And who is that? Who is A1 Buckwheat?
Allegedly. That's such a loaded question. She is the person who's been torturing me and my husband these last few months.
Okay, so now, wait, hold up. So now, is this person, okay, she's a female, you said she. So is she also working in the social media, or is she just like a super fan like you and everybody else were? Or was she also employed by Soggy?
Well, in a DM, me and Bucky got into it because Bucky yelled at me, and I have this all and it's very provable. Bucky yelled at me for being too hard on Gianna, for listening to other people, for not giving her a chance. And I said, I'm like, listen, I have two eyes. I could see with my eyes what she's done to other housewives. I go, and I'm not gonna turn a blind eye to it. And that's when things got really hairy. I know. Well, no, I'm going to say that. You have no idea how hard it is to dance around these words right now.
Yeah, I do understand because I know you don't want to incriminate yourself or say anything that's
I have been threatened today with court. I've received death threats. It's this woman ruins lives, and it's funny because everybody who told me this that I was brave to do this, but whatever. So all right. There was a conversation. Let me backtrack a little bit.
Yeah, backtrack.
All right. In January, it was around January 25th, everybody was going down to Boca to spend time with Siggy. Siggy was in Boca. It was going to be Helene, the president of her fan club, Tiffany, who was my friend at the time, who I had met and hung out with, and we had great times together. A bunch of people were going down. And this was 2 days after the final episode of the reunion ended. When the final episode of the reunion ended at exactly 10 o'clock that Wednesday, Siggy Flickr immediately blocked me. Immediately. At 10 o'clock, it was like, after all the hard work I'd done for her, she immediately blocked me, and I could prove this. I have timestamps and everything. And I tweeted, I was floored. I said, how could Siggy do this to me? I go, I was literally her number one fan. People hated me about how obnoxious I was about being Siggy's cheerleader.
Right.
So I tweeted out to a lot of people, Siggy blocked me, and nobody could believe me. So then Siggy unblocks me, but I didn't follow her back. The next day, Siggy Flicker the DMs Eddie Fortunato. Now I have this all time stamp, and it's very provable. This is exactly what happened. The Siggy Flicker Twitter account